Hey everyone, welcome to Group Text. I am so excited to have someone I truly adore on the show. Larry the Cable Guy, aka Dan Whitney, has been making people laugh for over 3 decades. He is probably best known as part of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour from the early 2000s for the voice of Mater, the tow truck in Disney Pixar Cars, and for hosting Only in America on the History Channel for 3 seasons. Larry has more comedy albums and TV specials than I can begin to list. His latest, It's a Gift, airs on Prime Video on September 12th. I just gotta say right off the bat, I watched it. So funny.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, it's
funny.
I appreciate it. It's funny and it's goofy and it's everything that I always wanted a special to do. So I'm pretty excited about it. I didn't know if I wanted to do another one or not. I didn't think I had enough material. I think I had about 34 new minutes. And I said I had 9 months to come up with another 26 minutes. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So good. I'm glad you liked it. It's one of my favorites. I had a fun time taping it.
Well, that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is that once you do material on a special, an album, that material is basically dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So you want to come up with it's got to be all different. I think I put a lot more goofiness in this one. You know, all the other ones were great, but me and myself, I'm pretty goofy. You know, I'm a Monty Python's Flying Circus kind of guy. So there were some parts in there. I think I had some really good callbacks in there. And just that one part, Melissa, where I did the joke about my show's PG-13, pretty good for 13 minutes. But the good news is I got a money back guarantee. I guarantee you're not going to get a money back. But right after I do that, this is what I'm talking about, where I go, well, before I go any further, before I bring the magician out, I'd like to do this. And then I do something completely stupid. And then I go, I can't tell you enough how you're not going to get your money back. It's that kind of stuff that makes me laugh.
But it makes me laugh, but it's very inside baseball because we're
Right.
laughing at it for a different reason. Anyone who's been around, and I was drug around as a child, touring in comedy clubs, it's funny for like the civilians, but for the inside people, it has a whole separate meaning. Because back in the day when you were all starting out, you were on the bill with magicians and dog acts. So when you say, don't worry, the magician's coming, that's a callback to the beginnings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so that's the kind of stuff that I love to do, and I think people will really enjoy it. I'm glad you like. I know your mom would have loved it.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into it because one of the things I noticed, which is so funny, and someone else who watched it pointed out to me too, half of your material talking about getting older, weight, being a grandparent, being a parent, all these things are sort of topics that my mother talked about. Like, I was worried, like, had you snuck in and gone into the joke file? Because everything you're talking about is the same shit she would talk about. And, I don't often think that you don't make me think of an older white Jewish woman comedian.
Well,
Yet you guys talked about the same things.
well, I never have talked about that stuff, but I am, believe it or not, Melissa, I'm 62 years old now.
Which is
And
crazy.
so I have to incorporate that stuff in there about, just all the stuff about getting older. And, you have to do it because it's your life and you get so much jokes and material out of it. I had to go into it. Yeah, absolutely. That's why when you see a lot of these comedians, they get older, you'll see how when you're 20, 30, and 40, you don't have to do a lot of prostate exam jokes.
Yeah, but also because I think you're capturing younger audience because obviously you have a very young fan base because of Cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I mixed it up really good. when I talked about the prices, right? The Olympics and golf, and there's a lot of that stuff. And I think there's a good mix in there for everybody, but nothing makes me laugh harder than a lot of the jokes about getting older and growing old with your favorite rock and roll
Oh,
band.
I loved that. I loved that. We don't want to give it away, but oh God, I the thing at the buffet
I
absolutely
know.
killed me.
And that's almost a true story.
It always is. Anyone who's worked Vegas knows that that is not a stretch of the imagination at all. Um, I gotta roll back for a sec. First of all, do we call you Larry or do we call you Dan?
You can call me Larry, Dan, whatever. You can call me Dan. I've known you for a while, so you can go with Dan if
Okay,
you want to.
thank you. But very much like my mother, Larry is different than Dan, as Joan Rivers was different than Joan Rosenberg. My mother always felt like people got disappointed when they would meet her, like socially or places like that, and she wasn't Joan Rivers. She was Joan Rosenberg, who was a different
Right.
person. You're Larry and Dan.
Yeah.
Do you find that people, like, when you get invited to a dinner party or something like that, or with your wife's colleague, let's just say, and you're meeting them for the first time, do you find they get almost disappointed when Dan shows up?
Do I find that disappointing?
No, do they find it disappointing when they meet Dan instead of Larry?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You know what? No, I don't think so. I used to feel the same way though. I used to feel the same way that your mom felt. I didn't want people to, well, he's not anything close to what he's, but I think the difference between me and the Larry the Cable Guy character is that's how I grew up. That's not me, but that's how I grew up. And so I think I still have a good connection because it's not like I created this character that is the completely opposite lifestyle of me because I grew up raising pigs. I grew up next to the cattle barn loading cattle trucks. I'm a big rodeo fan. So the stuff Larry talked about and did, that's what I do. So it's not like they're meeting a completely even the things we do are different. Those are the same. My personality is different, because I'm not a strip club beer drinking. I don't do any of that. So that might be surprising to some people, but I think I've been out there now long enough and there's been so many articles and I've done so many interviews. I think a lot of people knew it was a character. The people that didn't know it was a character, I don't think it matters to them because it's funny and I remind them of somebody that they know. And it's not like I was living in an apartment somewhere in New York or LA and I decided that I would do a redneck character because I grew up that way. So I think that kind of tempers it a lot with my fan base. I think they get it because a lot of those people know what I'm talking about, and they came from the same part of the country and grew up the same way. So, but yeah, I think like your mom, a lot of people expect her to be on 24 hours a day and always cracking jokes about the same stuff she does. No, I don't do that either. I'm very toned down. I'm myself. I'm not like now, I'm not always in an accent. I'm not, doing that. So um, I think that might have shocked a few people that that wasn't really my accent because I did it really good.
Yeah, you do.
But I think now it's just about I make them laugh and I remind them of somebody they know and they move on. I don't
Mhm,
look too deep into it, Melissa. I'm a comedian, just like your mom. We are
mhm,
here. We have a talent to make people laugh. That makes me laugh. That's why I do it so well. It makes me laugh. So I'm actually writing for something that makes me laugh, and I can perform it as that.
mhm.
And it all works out really well.
You thread the needle because I gotta tell you, the Mitch McConnell jokes absolutely killed me, as did the Bernie Sanders jokes.
Right.
But
I
you thread that needle even though you're sort of thought of as a red state comedian. I found it all relatable, and the Bernie Sanders joke stops the show.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, when it comes to that stuff, uh, Larry the Cable Guy started out to being political because that's how the character started. Because I would do social commentaries for radio stations, but my act was never political.
Nor was my mom's.
Yeah, so I had to incorporate and kind of. I took my act. I just took the Larry the Cable Guy and put it into my act, but I had to do some politics because I was known for that on the radio, and I slowly started gradually getting away from it because here's what I find about stuff like that. Um, it doesn't do me any good. I'm already a conservative guy. I think everybody knows that. I have no hatred toward anybody. I avoid it. I think there's enough division in the country that I don't need to add to it. And my job is just to make people laugh. And I will not do a political joke unless it's unless it's funny, unless I find it funny and it's not like hateful. I'll do the joke. The Bernie Sanders joke wasn't hateful. I thought it was a funny, like you said, it was a funny joke. And then the Mitch McConnell one, I had to, I had to do that because that's so
It was
funny.
hilarious. I don't
It's
wanna
so
give stuff
funny.
away, but I love the Mitch McConnell joke because it's the kind of joke that I love, which is
Right.
you're going straight and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes something else, and it's a hard pivot. How
Right.
I gotta ask though, how did that particular joke came to be? Because it almost feels like at one point when you were working the joke, like you lost your train of thought, stopped, and realized, oh, there's a joke right there.
I do the joke about going in for the colonoscopy, then the prostate deal. I thought that was illegal and that, but I wanted to do a thing where I said, but I feel pretty good now. My health is all so. I always wanted to do the Mitch McConnell thing, but
Mhm.
I didn't have a place. I didn't know how to do it. And just one time on stage, I said, "But I feel pretty good now. I don't," and that's when I did it. And it was just like people are like you said, it just came out of nowhere, and it got a big laugh the first time I did it, and so I just always kept it because it's just a funny reference, and it's totally effed up. So,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
100%. Do I always say that for someone to find for a audience to find something funny, there has to be such a strong working knowledge of it. So when people get offended, like with fashion police, I would always try and say, "Do you realize how famous you are and how well known you are in the cultural landscape that you can make a joke about someone and they get it?" I mean, to me,
Right.
that's and you have to like, you when you do jokes, they mean nothing if everybody doesn't have the cultural reference. You know,
Yeah,
I
absolutely, but it's amazing how many people knew about that. That's the thing.
well, that's what I'm saying, is it like, it's hard to believe, like, everybody has to know about something to get it, you know?
Yeah, and
And
I didn't know when I first did it anybody would even get it, but fortunately, we got, social media, and that went around pretty good, so
it went around everywhere. You have been doing this a long time. What was your first gig that you said, "Oh, I can I'm finally connecting. I'm finally like, oh, this might work."
well, that didn't happen for a long time. It takes a while to I can't really I'll tell you, the first time I did Larry the Cable Guy, where I said, "I think this might work," was the first time I ever did it on stage, and it was at McCurdy's Comedy Club in 1995 or 96 that I went up at McCurdy's Comedy Club, and I'd been on the radio. Might have even been earlier than that. I just went 93. Yeah, probably 1993 or 1994. He billed me as Dan Whitney, aka Larry the Cable Guy from the radio station. and it sold out 2 shows in like 20 minutes. And I
Wow.
was I was actually upset because it was only for radio. It was a radio character. I didn't have an act for Larry the Cable Guy. So I went up and did my own show, and then people started yelling out my name and Larry, get her done, get her. So I dip into the character, and I got done with the first show, and I'd only done Larry a few times, not a lot. I did what they wanted to hear. I'm taking pictures and signing autographs, and he told me it was Les that did it. Les said, "Have you ever tried to do your whole show like that?" And I said, "No, not really." He said, "You think you can do 45 minutes with that accent?" I said, "Les, you know me. I hang out at country bars. I can talk like that all night." And so I went up for the first time. He took my real name off and put Larry the Cable Guy, and it killed. And that's when I said, a light bulb went off, and I said, "Man, if I can get more radio stations to play me doing my thing, I can sell out comedy clubs." That's when I knew Larry the Cable Guy hit. Right then, I was doing okay on my own. I was headlining the smaller rooms. I was very fast paced, oddbally stuff like that. Like I would do that kind of stuff. Like
Right, right.
just stop and stare and hit myself in the head. I did all that kind of stuff. So, no, Larry the Cable Guy, that's when I knew I had something right then.
Isn't that funny? You can have those moments
Yeah.
and say, "This is it." So, you were already headlining as Larry the Cable Guy when you got the call about joining the, Blue Collar Tour.
Right.
Was that a moment
I,
where you said, "Wow, I've arrived"? Sometimes there's those sort of seminal moments where in hindsight you go, "Wow, that
I
was a
didn't
huge turning point."
I did not know what to expect. I went up and I did the history of country comedy, and just kind of there was 10 country comics hosted by Foxworthy, and I had no idea, but I was doing Larry the Cable Guy in all these places, and Jeff and I were been buddies since the 80s, and he wanted to kind of see it anyway. I went up and killed it at the Grand Ole Opry. And yeah, when I was sitting at home, and Jeff called me, and his manager at the time called me and put me on it. I thought it was cool. That's cool. That'd be fun. Work with Jeff, and that'll be cool. Do some arenas. I've never done that before. That'll be a good time. And um,
You're already headlining.
I was already packing out. I was one of the biggest draws in comedy
Yeah.
clubs across the country. And so I just thought it would be a fun move, another step up, bigger audiences. I never knew that it was gonna do what it did. That was a surprise. I just figured I'm gonna hop on this tour for a little bit, and it'll be a good respite from the stuff that I've been doing. But yeah, it led to a whole bunch of cool stuff. That's a fact.
I mean, it really first of all, it changed the face of sort of country comedy and made it very international. It was such a seminal moment for country comedy, and the rest of the country
Yeah,
finding out it could
I
sell out arenas.
yeah, I agree. It was definitely some kind of a cultural comedy phenomenon of something we never would have thought. It's kind of like when Garth Brooks came out, and everybody's buying Garth Brooks shirts and cowboy hats, and it rejuvenated the country music clothing business. It's kind of like when we came out with blue collar comedy. It was just like all of a sudden everybody's checking out country comedians and
Yeah,
coming to our shows. Yeah.
it's because it was fucking funny.
It was fun. It was just, oh, that's the thing. Like, we were just normal guys. We were just four guys trying to make each other laugh. And we weren't pretentious. We were always nice to our crowds, very approachable, didn't act like we were better than anybody. We were just up there talking about stuff that people do every day, you know?
It's pretty common knowledge that it didn't end great, that there was a lot of drama behind the scenes, you know, which is, by the way, normal. Bands have this, everything has this. How did you navigate that? Because you and Jeff are still really close. There was a story that I heard, which I thought was genius, was everybody so hated being around each other. After the show, everybody drove to the same private airport and got on 4 different planes. I'm like, "That is
Yeah, but
so fabulous that everybody had their own private plane." That's how shallow I am. That was my takeaway from the story.
yeah,
That, "Oh my
well,
god, they've made so much money, they're all getting on their separate planes, like, I don't like you, I'm getting on my plane."
I don't know where you heard that we didn't get along. We had regular brotherly little tiffs, but there was no infighting like we hate each other. Yeah, the only reason why we came in on 4 different I remember that night because I took a picture of it because I thought it was so cool. We were all that was at a time when we started going out on our own and doing our own stuff because we were getting booked. Somebody would want Ron, somebody would want me, somebody would and so we were all off doing our own thing, but we picked it up for a weekend to do a couple of shows, but we were all in different parts of the country. And so we all flew in on separate planes. And when I took a picture of it because I thought it was so cool, we walked out there, but we all went back together. We hopped in the same SUV together, went to the airport. But when we got out, there's 4 jets lined up, and we each went and got in our own. But I mean, it was crazy, Melissa.
My
Uh,
story's better, by the way. My story is better because why wreck a good story for the truth? I like it that all there were 4 people slamming out of their cars.
yeah, we were like the Eagles. We never spoke. There were, in all honesty, Melissa, there were not many times that we did not get along. There was a little bit, I think, when we were filming Blue Collar TV, there was a little animosity with, there was because some people would get, Bill and I had a little because Bill wouldn't get asked to do something and we did, and he'd been out there a long time. But you know what? That just comes with the territory. And Bill apologized to me and knew that it was petty. There were a few petty things. I'm sure I did a few petty things that got on Bill's nerves or Jeff's nerves, but Jeff and I have been solid for a long time. Ron and I have been solid for a long time. Bill and I were solid. We're not, I mean, it's not like I call Bill every day or Ron every day like I do Jeff. I talk to Jeff all the time, but Jeff and I, Melissa, were friends years
Oh, yeah.
before the other two. But no, we're all good friends. None of us really have any animosity toward each other. And the only reason we don't do it again is because
It's
we don't
exhausting.
want it's exhausting, but we don't want people to go, well, they were funny, but back in the day, we don't want that. We want to leave them with, wow, that was awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I buy into that completely. I still think my story is more exciting. Um, I
It
still
is.
think
You know
my
what? If you want, I'll go with that one for you.
please do because I just like the whole diva effect. That's just like what I like. I see in my head, I see the 4 cars, the 4 black SUVs pulling up, all same, everyone getting out with their entourages and slamming their car. Mine is much more exciting. Again, why ruin a good story with the truth?
Well, you know what? Before our planes took off, the pilots flipped each other. All the planes flipped each other off.
Okay, thank you. That makes me feel much, much better. Um, Voice work.
Yeah.
Do you love it? Because
I,
most people love it because I mean, for women especially, you don't have to get into hair and makeup. You can go to work in
yeah.
sweats. For you, that is not an issue because you basically do go to work in sweats.
Yeah, I do love it. I get to do my own stunts. Um,
Oh, your
I'm
own
the
nudity, no body doubles, nothing.
I'm the only guy that gets in character and puts on weight to do voiceovers.
The You're a
Um,
method actor.
yeah, you know what? I love it because I can either do it from my house or I can go up to a studio about 50 minutes away. Um, and it's just you and the script. And Pixar has been so good to me. They let me riff on a line. I don't have to stick to the line. If I think of something else, they'll always say, "Yeah, by all means, throw some other stuff out so we would use it." So I have a lot of freedom when I do Mater. I've done it for so long now. I think they really trust me. If I want to come up with something different, they know that I can come up with a different line. So, yeah, voiceover work is really fun. The only bad thing about voiceover work is it's hard to get other voiceover work because all my voiceovers sound like Mater.
It's a good problem to have. How old are your kids now?
My daughter is 17 and my boy is 18 and he just turned 19 on August 2nd.
Okay. So they're coming out of their teen years. I know I was horrified so many times growing up. Okay, first of all, they had to think you were cool when you were little and you were Mater. Like, that's cool and fun. Like, Dad, do Mater for my friends. At which point did they say, yeah, I know. My dad's Larry the Cable Guy. Whatever. Dad, go away. God, do you really have to say that? Could you please put on a normal shirt when you come to school? Did they go through that? Because I did.
Yeah, they thought it was cool when they were really little, and then when they got older, yeah, it wasn't, I wasn't as cool. There are other things they liked, other shows they liked. They didn't watch Cars a lot. Now that they're older, though, they think it's cool again, for some odd reason. Now, my daughter, is homeschooled. She's a senior taking homeschool. She wants to be a writer, and
Oh,
so
please
she
just say not a comedy writer.
no, she
Oh,
wants to
thank
write
God.
other stuff. So man, she's 17 and she's got 2 books she's been working on. And she won't let us see it because she wants to get everything done. And my boy, I'm very proud of my boy. He wanted to. My kid's a rodeo kid, so my girl she dabbles in breakaway roping too. She can
Mhm.
rope really good. She's got a roping horse, and my boy was bull riding for a while, and he had 2 surgeries, one on his knee, one on his shoulder, and then one day he said he wanted to join the military. And so my boy right now, next week, he finishes his first 10 weeks of boot camp, and I'm going to go down for family day next week, but he's in the Army Cavalry National Guard, the Army National Guard and the Cavalry. And so he's got 4 days left of boot camp, and then they get ready for their graduation of boot camp. And I'm gonna go down and check all that out next week. And then he goes right back in for another 12 weeks at Cav training. That kid's a tough kid. I'm proud of him. He's not his shoulder came out of socket 3 times, and he put it back in by hitting it up against a tree.
Oh, God.
'Cause
Okay, as a parent, and I was a sports parent, I was a lacrosse mom and horribly embarrassing to my child. I could not, and I grew up riding the jumpers. I grew up around horses and farms and all that. I never understood with bull riding why anyone would want to do it because every ride's a fucking wipeout. Like, I my goal was to not wipe out. As a parent, I'm sure as a dad it's there, but as a mom, how do you what could your wife even watch? Like,
no,
every ride's a wipeout. I
we
don't like
well,
y
not every ride's a wipeout. I mean,
okay, the majority of there's a high percentage of
you got
wipeouts.
a high percentage of the get off's the hardest part. You know what? We cheered him on because he loved it, and he wanted to do it and he loved it. I wasn't going to be a helicopter dad as long as we had the proper safety precautions. There were professionals that were teaching. I let him do it because he was going to do it anyway when he turned 18 if I didn't. So I got involved with it, and he loved it. That's the thing about bull riding. You do bull riding because you love it. If you don't love it, don't do it because it's dangerous and it can kill you. It's
Yes.
very rare, but it does happen, and it can cripple you. So you tell kids all the time that want to do it, well, don't do it. You only do it if you love it, and you have to let. You can't do it to try to pick up chicks or try to act like you're a tough guy because it's nothing to play around with. And he knew that going in, and he still loves it. I told him the other day, we were gonna frame his chaps and stuff and use it as a decoration and put it. And he says, "Well, don't do it yet because I still might want to get on one more." No, so they just, man, if you love, it's the thrill of it, Melissa.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
anybody that's hooked on the thrill. That's what it
Yeah, but
is.
I hope you said it when you, offered to frame his chaps, and he said, "Maybe" you have to say, "Really, don't do that to your mother again."
Yeah, no, we're framing
Like,
them anyway. We're
yeah,
framing them anyway.
yeah, it's like, "Don't your mother can't take much more of this."
I know.
Oh, god, but you were an athlete, which I didn't know. They supposedly you threw, like, and you thought it was a 95 mile an hour? Oh, yes. The physique continues. The physique is still there after all these years. Clearly, it was so a natural gift. But they told you
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 know
threw
what?
a 95
Yeah,
mile an hour
yeah,
fastball?
I had that verified to me because I have a reunion of my baseball team every year, and I had 3 people that never believed me, and I never said anything to my baseball guys. We went out one night, and 2 guys came up and said, "Hey, Larry, Dan said he could throw 95 mile," and my catcher and my outfielder said, "Absolutely. We were there when they, put the gun on him." And of course, I can't do it anymore. I didn't know the bliss at the time. I loved baseball. It was my favorite sport. I played outfield, first base. I couldn't hit. I was not a hitter. I couldn't hit. I didn't even know I could pitch. I knew I had a good arm. My coach, I love playing outfield. And my coach, I was throwing balls in from the outfield. My coach thought I had a good arm and taught me how to pitch. And I was the only left-handed guy on the team. I went to a really small Baptist college in Georgia. And yeah, I hit in the 5th inning of a tournament in Warren Wilson College. I hit 95 on the radar gun with a fastball in the 5th inning, and I was so stoked about it. It was cool. Now, if I'd have known I had that talent, I mean, I just played baseball because it was fun. I never spent a career on it. But if I'd have known earlier in life that I could do that, I'd have probably tried to pursue it and went to a college and they could have helped me along. But I didn't know I could do that until
Mhm.
I got my freshman year in college. And by
I
then I'm into other stuff.
I absolutely understand that completely. That was gonna be my next question. So there, even though you've kept that physique, I'm just how could you have not realized at the time that you were not built? Now you're built for, you know, backyard football
Yeah.
and,
Here's what I'm
and
built for, Melissa. I'm built for golf.
yes, yes, 100%. Um, I separately, I wanna ask you a second last question, but for this, I do have a burning question,
Yes.
and I'm hoping that you answer in the affirmative. Did you copyright Get Her Done?
Absolutely.
Good.
1991, I got that thing copyrighted right after we had a T-shirt sale, and, not even a T-shirt. Yeah, I was selling I got it copyrighted in '91 when I was selling T-shirts. And, so yeah, and I noticed I should do it when I was doing it on the radio and everybody started saying I started hearing "Get Her Done" everywhere. So I put that on some shirts and sold shirts right away so I get it copyrighted. Absolutely, I did.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I wasn't a jerk about it. It's not one of those things where if you say it in public or on a loudspeaker at a game, I'm going to come after you like the wrestling guy, like the "Let's get
Right.
ready." I didn't do
Michael
that.
Buffer. Michael
Yeah,
Buffer.
you just can't put it on t-shirts and sell it because I've got copyright on that. But I love it when people say it. I love it when people are on TV and they go, "Let's get her done," because now everybody knows it's me. So there you go.
Right. But yeah, they shouldn't make money off the t-shirt. Uh, Dan, always a pleasure. Everybody watch It's a Gift comedy special airs on September 12th on Prime Video. Thank you so much.
Melissa, it was awesome to see you again. Absolutely. I love you to death. And thanks for
Thank you.
having me come on. Seriously, I do appreciate it.